Hello. I have done a couple of metal updates, but I haven't done record updates in many months, so I thought it was high time to make one. So let's get started. This is My Truth, Tell Me Yours, Manic Street Preachers, 20th Anniversary Collector's Edition. Double album, no bonus tracks this time like they were on Send Away the Tigers. But this is one of my favorite albums from Manic Street Preachers, so obviously I had to get it. I already had decided that I have enough Rolling Stones live albums, but when this one was issued, I thought that I have to get this one. I had decided previously that I would buy live albums from each tour up until 2005. And although I had already had a live album from this tour, which was Stripped, Stripped was recorded at the rehearsal studios and at the clubs, but since they only played a few club gigs during that tour, I thought that this would be more representative of their stadium gigs. So I decided to give this triple album a chance. And once again, I'm such a Rolling Stones fan that, yeah, I think it's a great one. This next one came through watching a TV series called American Epic, which is here. This is Memphis Jug Band. I had been interested in hearing some jug band music for a long time, simply through the Lovin' Spoonful song Jug Band Music. So now was the great time. Jug band music is like an early sort of mixture of folk and country or folk and blues. Really upbeat, like good time music, like Lovin' Spoonful says. Okay, this next is a classic live album that I have never heard. I have been told many times that this is one album that I have to hear, but I just never got around buying it. This album is actually not that common here. I do see it from time to time, but it's not really that common here. So now it was finally issued, limited edition 1500 copies on red vinyl. This is Cheap Trick at Budokan, the complete concert. So I finally got around to buying it. Yeah, it's a good one. I have a couple of their studio albums, and I have to say that this is like a different animal to them. I really like those studio albums, but a bit like with Kiss, you know, their first three albums, and then Alive is like a different animal compared to their earlier albums. So this is like same thing. A classic for a good reason. Cardigans Gran Turismo. This is like the electronic album, which is one thing that I usually hate. But since Erase and Rewind is one of my favorite Cardigans songs, I wanted to give this one a chance. And I actually like this. I think it's a really good album. The only unfortunate thing about this is that the spindle hole here is too small. I can put the record on, but when I have to change sides or take the record off, I like have to grab it with both hands and like rip it off. So that means that sooner or later the vinyl will start bending. So yeah, I have to do something about that. I just don't know what yet. This is Soul Asylum, Made to Be Broken. This is one of their earlier albums, and by earlier I mean albums prior to Hang Time. I have two of their early albums. One of them I don't like at all, and one of them I think is rather good. But I still wanted to give this one a chance, and I'm glad that I did, because I think it's really good. Not as good as Hang Time, but still very much worth getting. Okay. Classic rhythm and blues, really, this is just excellent album. Self-titled by Ray Charles, his first album, just brilliant. This is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. This one is in mono also. I haven't got around buying more of these early albums yet. I do have two albums on CD. Right now I'm considering buying one more on vinyl, but yeah. That's just brilliant. Okay, next one is a CD. This one was available here for a long time, and I considered buying it many times, but I always got left behind. So, as you can guess, the one day that I had already decided that okay, I'm going to buy it. It was sold out. And it turned out to be difficult to get. Actually, it would have been easy to get if I would have bought the more recent reissue. This is Gene Clark Silverado 75 live and unreleased. The more recent reissue, I think it's called just Ebbets Field, which is where these recordings were made. But the Ebbets Field CD is not authorized by the Gene Clark estate. And this one is authorized by Gene Clark estate, so I wanted to get this one. These recordings are done on a tour following the release of No Other. But this is just a minimalistic band. There's just Gene Clark with vocals, acoustic guitar and harmonica, with another acoustic guitar and electric bass, so very much stripped down versions. But reading these sleeve notes, I noticed that some of these songs here were songs that he would later record for his follow-up album. So that got me interested in it, and I wanted to find that, and I was really lucky because I think it was only the very next time that I went to record store that I found this. I'm not sure was it the very next time or the following time, but really it took me like no time at all to find this, despite that this is a difficult album to get. Although this has been reissued on vinyl, I don't remember, like a couple of years ago, but that was really expensive reissue. But anyway, this is Gene Clark, Two Sides to Every Story. It comes with the lyric sheet. Yeah. I have to say that this is not one of Gene Clark's best albums. A couple of these tracks are really great, but mostly I would say that this is somewhere between good and okay. So yeah, really not one of his best albums, but still, if you are a Gene Clark fan, I do recommend getting this one as well. Okay, next one. I never would have thought that I'm going to buy this one. I saw Billy Hurst like really giving a high praise for this album. So, but that didn't get me to trying to find this album, because to me he is 80s country artist, and I'm not interested in 80s country artists. I'm interested in those who began their career during the 50s and 60s. So yeah, not interested in 80s artists. But one day I was just going through the records at the second-hand store, and this one turned up. Randy Travis, Storms of Life. Yeah, just because this was €8, I decided to give this one a listen. Didn't really expect anything at all from this, but it's a really good album. Really good album. And to me, what makes this great album is that it doesn't sound like an 80s country album. I'm not familiar with 80s country, so I don't really know what 80s country album should sound like. But to me, this sounds like a 70s country album, and that makes it a great album to me. So thank you, Billy Hurst. A classic, Blues Breakers, John Mayall with Eric Clapton. I've had this one on CD for decades, but once again it was reissued, and I happened to find this one for cheap, so yeah, of course I had to get it. Another Soul Asylum album. This is Twin Tone Extras. These are tracks that were issued as bonus tracks on their CDs. Some of these tracks are really early demo tapes. In fact, some of these tracks are even before they were Soul Asylum. There's Loud Fast Rules were their first name. And then there were Proud Crass Fools before they became Soul Asylum. So yeah, many of these tracks don't sound like Soul Asylum at all. Mostly I would say that this album is interesting rather than a good album. Okay, this one was one that I had thought of buying on CD for at least 20 years, but I just, again, never got around to buying it. Now this was reissued on vinyl, limited edition of 6,000 on white vinyl. So this is Grateful Dead, Skeletons from the Closet, the best of. I'm not a great fan of Grateful Dead. American Beauty is a really good one. That one I really do like. I think it's a great album. But the other two albums that I have, I think they are okay. Yeah, they're okay. I do like them, but I'm not that big of a fan of it. And that's the same thing with this one. I think this is okay. I do like this, but I really don't think I'm going to need any more of Grateful Dead albums. Okay, next one is a story of how you should not only keep in mind the details, but keep in mind the whole picture. I was going to a record store, and there were two albums that I was going to buy, and there was a third album that I was hoping that would be there. So I went there, and I found the first one, which I'm not going to show now because I will show that on Metal Update. Second one was sold out, but instead I found this one. This is Come Fly With Me by Frank Sinatra. This one was on sale there, and I don't think that this is a good album. There's 12 songs here, 4 are really good, but the rest of them are like, they're okay. Not a great fan of this album. But anyway, the third album was there, and I also found a fourth album. And I knew that I would want those two albums. But this time I would only buy one of those two. The trouble was that I would have to buy over a certain amount of money in order to get a discount. The price difference between those two albums was only €1. But the thing was that I would have to buy the more expensive one in order to reach that level where I would get the discount. But the trouble was that I wanted to get, at that time, I wanted to get that more cheaper one. But if I would buy the cheaper one, I wouldn't get the discount. So I was going back and forth as to what to do. And then I decided that I'm not going to lose that discount because of €1. So I decided that I will get that more expensive one, which was Cardigans' First Band on the Moon. Yet again, a really, really good album. I really like this one. So I had now decided on those 3 albums, and I went to the counter to pay them. And the guy said to me that, okay, you can get a discount now. Will you use it on one of these albums? And it was only then that I realized that with that discount, I can get the 4th album for free. Buffalo Springfield self-titled. So yeah, I didn't think at all that I can do this and buy this one before I went to the counter to pay this one, to pay for those others and get this one for free. Excellent deal. Okay, as a final one, I am hoping that Bad English Rex will be watching this one. This is a Canadian-Finnish artist called Bobby Aro, and the album is called Kapakka in the Kaupunki. If you can see, the title Kapakka in the Kaupunki translates as bar in the city. Bobby Aro was a Canadian guy with Finnish parents, so he sang these songs with a mixture of English and Finnish. So although musically this is really good, but this is a funny album. The songs are really like rudimentary. There's an acoustic guitar and overdubbed percussion. But the thing here is the lyrics, which are a mixture of Finnish and English. So it's a really funny album to listen, although musically it's really not good. And several of these songs, although these are marked down as being Bobby Aro's original songs, are actually old familiar songs to which he simply wrote new lyrics. But as I said, a funny album, though not really musically that good. Okay, that's it for this time. I have a whole bunch of records, both these type of records and metal records, and hopefully I will be making new videos very soon, but that remains to be seen. Thanks for watching, hope you like this, leave a comment, bye.